The latest tech,
I'm Alexa. I can answer your questions.
interviews,
And we are evolving, and we are seeing an amazing opportunity that is happening.
accessibility.
Accessibility is one of our core values. It's even a part of our mission statement.
This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome to another edition of Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for being here each and every single week. I am Mark Aflalo with Stephen Scott alongside me. Stephen, we're talking all about Google I/O this week. Their developer conference that happens each and every single year, a time of the year where we get all this fun tech to look forward to. How you feeling?
Well, I would feel better if there was actually some tech to talk about.
There's so much tech. There's so much.
What is it with these events this year? Come on, there's no tech. It's just, and they're all blaming the pandemic. Oh, it's terrible.
There is so much tech coming out of Google I/O this year, but here's the catch with Google I/O. Unlike some other conferences we might not mention here, is that a lot of the features and things that we see software-wise at Google I/O tend to be in the early development stages. They tend to show us stuff that we may see in 2 to 3 years from now, some stuff we might see coming up in Android in the next year or so, but a lot of it is just kind of to get people excited, I feel. It's unlike WWDC, which lets you get hands-on with stuff immediately.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. And I think a lot of this is, of course, about development, and we're seeing more and more about software development this year, which, I'm being a bit flippant. I mean, the reality is that, well, first off, is there even a need to bring out new technology this year? That's a big question, isn't it? I mean, do we need to have a brand new smartphone every single year from Google or Apple or anyone else? I mean, it's nice to have, but do we need it? Probably not. And the reality is that it's the software itself that drives it. So I'm probably more interested in what it's doing and what the company is actually doing to increase and improve the software. I mean, for us, it's around accessibility, but for everyone else, it's about privacy. It's about the importance of how secure the devices are, and of course the reliability and battery life. These are the things that people are interested in when it comes to their tech. So yeah, I can understand why people get excited about the software developments. I just like toys.
I understand it. But you know what? Here's what happens is every single year we get this Google I/O event, just like every other developer conference. But what we do a little bit differently is we don't pretend that we know what we're talking about. We bring on someone who we at least tells us he knows what he's talking about. And that person is the co-host of Double Tap Canada, which you can hear each Thursday on AMI Audio at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sean Priest, welcome to Double Tap TV. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like it's been eons since you've been on the TV show at least.
I know, it's been ages. It's a disgrace. I should be on more, but no, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Hang on, sorry. I'm just checking here with the show's executive producers and the team. Mark said someone who knew things. Is this right?
No. He actually said someone who claims to know things. So
yeah, I didn't claim that was a statement. Like I didn't say that was a fact. I just said that he claims he knows some stuff when it comes to at least the Android stuff. All joking aside here, there was a lot of stuff that was announced at Google I/O. Things like better AI in the search features, smarter maps, and augmented reality in maps, which were pretty cool. We saw a demonstration of people talking to a planet with Google's project Lambda, they called it, an AI platform that uses, AI algorithms to have better conversational knowledge. Is there something specific, Sean, that might have struck you that came out of Google I/O this year that was like, oh, that could be really neat when it actually makes it in our hands?
well, you know what? That's the trouble. With any event, right, everyone's looking for that wow factor. We all want the bells, the whistles, the flashing lights, that killer app or that killer feature like voice assistants were. And of course, you can't have that every year. So no, there was nothing here that really made me go, that's a feature I absolutely want. But I mean, it was the general theme of Google I/O. And it's the same as it was last year, actually. It's artificial intelligence. It's machine learning. The way they are handling searches now and voice searches, natural language. So the examples they were given was, I'm going to climb Mount Fuji. What boots do I need to do that? Or something like that. Multiple questions or multiple statements, and the AI is able to contextualize that, break it down and bring back relevant results. And to me, that's amazing. And Google are so good at this. I mean, they're market leaders. There's no one even that comes close. So it was the artificial intelligence for me was the thing that really stood out, as well as privacy as well.
Let me throw this out to both of you guys. Do you think that Google is as good as they are with all this artificial intelligence because of the years of search background? Is it just that mass amount of data that they own and they catalog and they constantly optimize?
Yes. Simple as that. Yes, of course. Google are masters of this. Those captures that every visually impaired and blind person hates, it's basically us feeding back OCR data to Google. The searches that we do, we're giving them all our patterns. They know what we're going to do. They know what we're going to search for next. The services that they offer for free, we're giving them all this data. And these large amounts of data sets are what is so important for machine learning. You can feed it into the machine and it can learn from that. And Google have just so much data that they're leaps and bounds in front of everyone else. So yeah, absolutely. And it almost seems like magic when Facebook or whatever app shows you an advert and you say, "How they must be listening to me." No, that's machine learning. That's their algorithms working, and it blows my mind. It's like magic. They are great at this.
I remember a conversation that happened right after Google I/O where someone brought up that exact example. They said, "Oh, Facebook is listening to me." And the response was, "We actually don't even need to listen to you because we know exactly what you're going to next, how you're going to get there, and what you want." And that was really scary in one way, but also so true because of, yes, there's probably a 0.1%, of the population that may go a different direction, but they have data on so many searches and what people go to next and how they go there and why they go there and what they searched for before. They can pretty much, plot out the path of where you're going to go before you even think about it.
But I think we also have to be careful with this because we forget. I think often when we look forward as much as we do, and I guess anybody who goes to an event like Google I/O or WWDC, you're looking at what's coming up, you're looking at what's next. Now, of course, that's the right thing to do. That's part of the job. But you actually then can forget where you already are. And like you're saying, Google has got so much data already because of years of search and putting all that effort into search. And that has given Google such an advantage over other companies. So they are able to do things much better with AI as a result of that because of those years of experience. I don't get too excited, if I'm honest, about Google announcing new products or new features because I've noticed over the years Google tend to run projects that seem to run for maybe 6-7 months and then maybe fall out of favor and they go away. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because sometimes those features can end up in other products or they can end up in new apps or they become part of something else. Of course, you've got to test things and not everything can be a success or indeed work. But I think for me, it's therefore more about the artificial intelligence because I think they are going to be driving a lot of new features out of artificial intelligence, creating capability through our smartphones, which are pretty powerful as they are. I think about the Google Lookout app. We've talked about it here on the show before. And, the power of this app to use that camera to instantly recognize a product, just instantly pick up a product. I point a box of cereal at it and it will tell me what make and model that cereal is. It is incredible.
You guys are watching Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am Mark Aflalo. Alongside me this week is Stephen Scott and Sean Priest. We're going to take a quick break and let's dive into accessibility when we come back. Stick around.
Love Double Tap TV? Listen to AMI Audio for Double Tap Canada every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for news and reviews on everything tech. This is Double Tap TV.
We are back on Double Tap TV talking all things about Google I/O, their annual developers conference this year. I am Mark Aflalo. Alongside me this week, Stephen Scott and Sean Priest, a familiar face and voice if you listen to AMI Audio and you listen to Double Tap Canada, hosted by the three of us, every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sean, I want you to take the reins here and walk us through some of the new accessibility features or enhanced accessibility features that we're going to find in the next version of Android. Are we on 12 now, or is this 13 or 19? What are we on?
Yeah, well, it's Android 12. You know what? I kind of miss those candy and dessert names like Lollipop and Kit Kat and Jelly Bean. I like those. We should go back. Made me hungry. But anyway, yes. So some people have asked me what's new when it comes to accessibility with Android 12. And you know what? It's not really the question to ask anymore because things have changed. There are a few things when it comes to accessibility in Android 12 itself, but we'll get to that in a second. But what it is that the Android Accessibility Suite, the software, the accessibility software such as TalkBack and BrailleBack, etc., those are separate from the Android operating system. They are now an app in the Google Play Store. So no longer do you have to wait. Say you want the new improvements, you want new features or bug fixes to TalkBack. You don't have to wait until the next version of Android comes out because it's separate. All we need is an update to TalkBack in the App Store. They push it through, we download it, bang! We've got new features or we've got the bug fixes. It's actually a really great way to do it. And I kind of wish that, maybe Apple would look at this way of doing things with VoiceOver in the App Store. Any bug fixes, just push it out. We don't have to wait to the next version of iOS or whatever it may be. So, yeah, the actual question is what's new in TalkBack, I guess. So TalkBack 9.1 is the current version, and we've had it, and we've got it already. So the new features that came with the latest version of TalkBack were, of course, the multi-finger gesture support, which is a good thing because it means that we now have a sort of a more uniformity, or a unified is the word I'm looking for, a unified sort of experience when it comes to screen readers and touch screens. So if you're using an iPhone, the Magic Tap, two-finger double tap on the screen to start or stop media playback, right? Well, now you can do that on Android as well. Also on Android, you can do a three-finger tap on the screen to bring up the TalkBack menu. Just one menu with all your settings. It used to be that you had to do a, swipe up and then to the right to bring up one menu, swipe down and to the right to bring up another menu. Well, now, three-finger tap, and you've got one menu of all your settings. Makes it so much easier. Now, when it comes to Android 12 itself, there are a few little features in there, such as extra dim. Yeah, it's not a description of me. Extra dim, it allows you, for people who are very sensitive to the brightness of the screen, obviously, turn on this and it's almost like screen curtain. The screen brightness will go way down. There's also, for the hard of hearing, there's some improvements to live captioning and real-time transcription. There's also some impressive sound notifications. So there's customizable ones. So let's say your doorbell isn't your normal ding dong, it's rather, a frog noise. Then you can train your sound notifications to say, that's my doorbell, which is pretty cool. So when it comes to the actual Android 12 itself, basically, not a huge amount of accessibility features because that's not how it works anymore. Android Accessibility Suite, which includes TalkBack, is separate, and there are some improvements going on there. And let me just say, the biggest thing, I think, is that now TalkBack is being developed not only by Google, but by Samsung as well. So we've got two companies there working on this screen reader, and I think they both bring some great features to it. I think the multi-finger gesture support was probably bought by Samsung. I think they were behind that. And yeah, great news. I love the way they're doing this now.
This is something that we saw also, at WWDC this year, was that the amount of devices that this new software iterations are going to work on keeps growing. Like it's not becoming obsolete anymore. So it's nice to see that not only is it going to be cross-compatible with older devices, but the fact that they can release features like that immediately and not require people to wait for the operating system. They obviously, I guess they see the value in releasing that stuff early. Do you find that it's that, or is it more of a case of getting people hands-on and trying to find out what the issues are with it?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not entirely sure. And to be honest, I don't care what the reason was why they did separate it. Because when they first released this new version of TalkBack, right, there was a bug in it, a quite serious one. And they were able to fix it and push out a new version really quickly. But I mean, much more quickly than we've seen before. So maybe it is they decided to separate for that reason. Maybe they decided that it helps them getting less, having to deal with more complaints. I don't know. But the end result is it's better for the user. So you know what? That's all I care about, really.
I mean, I don't want to be negative Nancy here, but I will be, because I will say that the challenge here with Android, unlike Apple, is that you do have significant fragmentation. So you will have handsets that will not be able to support Android 12 at this stage. Some may not support it at all. Samsung, it will, of course, be one provider that, or one manufacturer that will, of course, adopt Android 12, but it may not be right away. So you do have the challenge that these features that we talk about in TalkBack and in the Android Accessibility Suite may actually be delayed for some users. And that's the challenge, Sean, isn't it? That we are in a situation with Android where it really does. I mean, I've said it so many times and I get shot down in flames for it every time. But when I talk about buying an Android device and someone says to me, what do you recommend? I always say buy the Google device, because the Google devices will always be updated with the right software at the right time, as in when it comes out, and you'll get all the latest features immediately. You won't have to wait, unlike the case if you maybe use an LG phone or you use a Samsung phone or some other type. You may be waiting longer on those. That's different on Apple, of course, because the hardware and the software are built under the same roof.
Yeah, but that's always been the case, isn't it? That's always been the curse and the gift of Android, has been that there's so many different devices out there, so many different price points. It does make it difficult. There's no getting away from that. It's really difficult to give someone advice on an accessibility feature, say, when their use of their phone may be slightly different, or their performance on their phone may be slightly different. But I think the way that Android is progressing now, with it breaking up the core segments of Android, as I said, Accessibility Suite becoming separate from that, and security updates becoming separate as well. So Google can push out security fixes and security patches separately without having to wait for manufacturers to bring out, the next version of their next version of the operating system. So yeah, I agree with you. Basically, I do agree with you that it's always best if you can go for a vanilla or stock Android, something that hasn't been messed around with too much by the handset manufacturer. But I think it's becoming less of an issue. And as I said, I think Android is really maturing.
It is Double Tap TV. I am Marco Flallow. Alongside me this week is Stephen Scott and Sean Priest. If you want to get involved, it's a quick email, feedback@ami.ca. If you want to send us something on Twitter, it's @DoubleTapCanada. Use that hashtag, which is AskDoubleTap. And of course, now on Instagram, @DoubleTap.online. We'll be back in just a moment.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. This is Double Tap TV.
Back on this edition of Double Tap TV, talking all things Google I/O. Of course, their annual developers conference. I am Marco Flallow. Alongside me is Stephen Scott and Sean Priest. The voices you hear on AMI Audio every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I almost forgot the time, guys. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, Double Tap Canada. Gentlemen, we talked about accessibility. We talked about, obviously, a lot of the software and, the search power that Google has in itself. Before we went to the break, I talked about a little partnership that has come of Google I/O this year, and that is with Samsung as well, on Wear OS. How big is this in terms of the future of that line of not only products, but software? Stephen?
Well, I've got to say, this is a very exciting area. This is perhaps, other than AI, the one hardware initiative I do think Google can excel at here. I really thought we'd see a Pixel Watch this year. And we may still, the year is young, so we may still get some version of a new Pixel Watch with this new version of Wear OS on it, which they've partnered up with Samsung to create. And I think that we'll be looking at possibly some Fitbit integration as well. I don't know if we'll see the end of the Fitbit brand. I think it'll continue. But perhaps that Wear OS will borrow some of the technology for, obviously, the benefits of, all the health tracking features of this new watch. But of course, the big bit, and the reason I'm so excited about it, is because we will get accessibility. Now, I should say that Wear OS already has accessibility in it. So if you buy certain watches that run Wear OS, smartwatches at the moment, you will get an element of accessibility. But it's a bit, and I'm trying to find the right word here, kludgy. There's a word for you. Don't look it up. Trust me, don't Google that, because I don't know what you'll get. But I would say very clunky is probably the best word to use. It's difficult, it's challenging. A lot of the third-party applications don't work. It's not perfect yet. It's still struggling to get right. And I'm hoping that the partnership with Samsung, who also spent time working with accessibility in their Tizen software for their Samsung watches, will hopefully have worked together to create some really interesting experiences for smartwatch users. Because at the moment, the only accessible smartwatch, truly accessible smartwatch, is the Apple Watch. And it could really do with some competition out there.
I'm hoping that they learn some and take some notes from some of the other companies out there that have put together some really cool smartwatches that use their operating system. I mean, if you look at the Citizen line, they've done a really good job at integrating that round face and that operating system in there. And if I look at, the TicWatch Pro, which doesn't use, actually, no, TicWatch uses Wear OS as well. I mean, that's a great design choice. I mean, the battery life and the health features are really something that I think Google and Samsung should be paying attention to in their lineup. Sean, what's your experience with the whole Wear OS platform? Is it something that you think that you would actually adopt, or is the accessibility still just too far behind on your part?
Yeah, it's not even, I think, accessibility is behind. It's just that it seems like the whole process, that like Google haven't really got it working yet when it comes to wearables, which is so strange. Maybe it's a case that they just haven't seen a reason to put in that much effort. I don't know. And of course, like we were talking about before, fragmentation does not help. There's so many different styles of watches out there that making a universal user interface for that works well is going to be tricky. Different levels of performance, different designs of watches. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the problem is, but I'm hoping now that Samsung are on board, and of course, with the acquisition of Fitbit, that Google may see that there's more of a reason to have wearables and smartwatches as more of a priority on their radar. So yeah, fingers crossed, because this would be really cool, because so far the Apple Watch is the only real, I may get emails about that, but it's the only real option out there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what Google and Samsung can come up with.
Stephen, anything else that really stuck out from you this year at Google I/O before we wrap up this week's show? I mean, Fitbit is bringing more health tracking to the table, which is pretty cool, and we hope to see that in Wear OS. I find AR in the maps is a really cool feature, but, in terms of accessibility-wise, I haven't seen much change there.
Yeah, I'm very excited about all of that. But, as I say, Mark, the one thing that really irritated me was no toys. And I want to see a new Pixel Book this year. I want to see a Pixel Watch this year. Is that too much to ask?
I don't think it's too much to ask, but you know what? You may get something down the road. Lots of stuff out of Google I/O, stuff we didn't even get a chance to talk about, guys. But if there's something specific that you want us to cover, let us know. Email us at feedback@ami.ca. On Twitter, you can reach out at DoubleTapCanada with that hashtag, which is AskDoubleTap. And of course, now on Instagram, if you want to reach out as well, it is at doubletap.online. Thank you guys so much for being alongside me. I cannot wait to be alongside you guys on Double Tap Canada, which airs again on Thursdays on AMI Audio at 8 p.m. Eastern. On behalf of Stephen Scott and Sean Priest, I am Mark Aflalo. Thank you guys so much for being here this week. We'll chat with you again on our next edition of Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. Hosted by Mark Aflalo and Stephen Scott. Editing, Jordan Steves. Production assistants, Wendy Kaufman. Content review, Zachary Aflalo. Social media, Andy Wynn. Segment producer, Sean Priest. Voiceover, Anna Vicino. Integrated Described Video Specialist, Ron Rickford. Coordinating producer, Jennifer Johnson. Director, Production, Kara Nye. Director, Programming, Brian Perdue. VP Content Development and Programming, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2021, Accessible Media, Inc.